This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station. MNC. On News Talk 95.3, 101.9 FM, and 1340 AM, your MNC Nation station.
Good morning. It is Tuesday, August the 27th, 2024. I'm John Zimney in the MNC News Center. Good to be with you as the news gets started now with our top local stories on Michiana's Morning News. With an excessive heat warning in effect for most of the listening area today, there's a possibility we could meet or beat the record high temperature of 96 that was set back in 1948. Even if we don't reach the record today, it's going to be a sweltering one.
That's because the heat index values will be over 100 degrees. So the heat index, the feel-like temperature, because of the heat and the humidity combination, is going to be over 100 degrees at times. That's
WSBT meteorologist Carrie Peugeot. She says we do see a few chances for rain this week. The best chances for thunderstorms could be tonight into tomorrow. Some could be possibly strong to severe. Now, as of now, our main concerns look to be gusty winds, lightning, heavy downpours. We cool down to the 80s for both Friday and Saturday. Meantime, there are cooling centers set up in Michiana.
In South Bend, the list includes the Charles Black Community Center, Howard Park Event Center, the O'Brien Fitness Center, Pinhook Community Center, and the local libraries. In Elkhart, there are many centers, including Faith Mission, Guidance Ministry, First Light Mission, the YMCA, and others. You can learn more about cooling centers in your community by calling Indiana's 211 hotline. The National Weather Service recommends you avoid spending any strenuous time outdoors during this week's heat.
A left triangle spat ended with an 18-year-old woman who was shot by a police officer in Benton Harbor.
It happened around 3:45 Saturday morning when a Benton Harbor public safety officer noticed a crowd gathered around a Chevy Malibu on Vineyard Avenue. As the officer approached, the car's driver allegedly drove toward the crowd and the officer. The officer then fired his gun, hitting the driver, Elijah Walker, in the hand. Walker was treated at the hospital before being booked into the Berrien County Jail on felony charges. The officer is on administrative leave while Michigan State Police investigate the shooting. Tommy Lee, MNC News.
No word yet about the cause of that massive fire that destroyed the clubhouse at Juday Creek Golf Course. The blaze erupting just before 6 o'clock yesterday morning. Crews from Clay Fire and multiple other departments worked throughout the morning drive rush to put the flames out. Smoke could be seen for miles. One firefighter suffered signs of heat exhaustion. The owners say they will rebuild. 2 adults and 3 children were hurt when they were zapped by electricity in a swimming pool in Logansport. Police responded to a home on Sunday afternoon to find the 5 injured. Information's not been released explaining why the electric shocks happened in the pool. Logansport police say they found no signs of criminal activity at the scene. Indiana gubernatorial candidate and Senator Mike Braun is not backing off his plan to cut property taxes here in Indiana.
Braun was on WIBC's Kendall and Casey show. He said this is actually quite simple.
In the area that we all agree with, that home ownership ought to be doable and reachable for everyone. And then if you've got tax policies that are not doing that, it needs to be changed. And I think that's why it's going to get broad support.
He says he'll be campaigning for this every week until the election. John Herrick, Network Indiana.
On the topic of your money, gas prices dropping 9 cents over the past 2 weeks to a new national average of $3.43 a gallon. That's a drop of 18 cents from 6 weeks ago and 53 cents from a year ago.
Reasons for the drop include the end of the summer travel season and a return to full capacity at refineries in Illinois and Ohio that were limited due to weather. Trilby Lundberg with the Lundberg survey also says an additional seasonal reason could drive prices lower.
We may have another nickel or more in declines coming from the mid-September allowable lower cost for gasoline, as refiners will no longer have to make summer blend.
Tulsa, Oklahoma has the lowest local average price per gallon at $2.72. The San Francisco area is highest at $4.62. In the South Bend area, the average price is $3.29 a gallon. Derek Decker, MNC News.
Indiana ranks 50th in the nation for voter turnout, just ahead of West Virginia, according to the Indiana Bar Foundation Civic Health Index.
Several of the state's county clerks want to change that statistic. Marion County Clerk Kate Sweeney Bell is urging Hoosiers to register to vote by October 7th.
It's not automatic. If you have a reasonable expectation to be out of the county on Election Day, if you're caring for someone who is confined, or if you're confined to your residence, those are some of the reasons that you can vote absentee by mail.
Early voting is October 8th through November 4th, giving voters voters ample opportunity to cast their ballots. Victor Garcia, MNC News.
The Michigan GOP convention had more than its fair share of drama this past Saturday. Former Chair Christina Caramo, who still claims to be the head of the state party despite a vote to the contrary, made an appearance, but she was removed by police. Matthew DePerno, the party's 2022 nominee for Attorney General, dropped his bid for a state Supreme Court seat shortly before the event. A hand-counting ballot process made for a long night before candidates were named. The Democrats also held their state party convention over the weekend, though their candidates were already determined well ahead of time. And Indiana's State Budget Committee now approving millions of dollars for a controversial industrial park.
Indiana State Budget Committee approved $101 million for a water pipeline and infrastructure for a controversial industrial park, along with another $101 million for a $6 billion battery plant. Our news gathering partners at Indiana Capital Chronicle report Senator Fadi Kadora expressed discomfort with funding amid a Medicaid crisis, while Senator Chris Garton argued the money would be repaid. The pipeline will supply 25 million gallons daily to Lebanon, supporting Eli Lilly's $9 billion project.
And that's Joe Ullery reporting. You can add another Michiana Red Lobster location to the list of restaurants closing nationwide. It's the Red Lobster on Franklin Street in Michigan City. It's one of nearly 24 more closings that were announced yesterday, according to court documents related to the restaurant chain's bankruptcy proceedings. An Indiana man with a criminal record is now facing more than 40 years in prison for sexually exploiting a child on social media.
According to the Department of Justice, Sonny Applegate was convicted of possession of child porn in 2020. Then in 2022, he messaged an 11-year-old on Snapchat. He sent inappropriate messages and requested explicit images and videos. Officers later learned of these conversations, and they also found hundreds of images and videos of other kids. After prison, Applegate will spend the rest of his life under supervised release, and he must pay restitution and register as a sex offender. Morgan Hopkins, MNC News.
Fentanyl's no joke, especially due to some drug dealers lacing other drugs with it. Indiana's Overdose Lifeline's now trying to get the word out about using fentanyl testing strips. Founder Justin Phillips says their ads were taken off by Facebook, but you can still find everything at overdoselifeline.org. That's overdoselifeline.org. A 95.3 MNC consumer alert to pass along. Walmart recalling nearly 10,000 cases of Great Value brand apple juice sold in 25 states, Puerto Rico, and the District of Columbia. Indiana's part of the recall.
The juice was found to contain potentially harmful levels of arsenic. The FDA have given the recall more urgent classification after announcing its original alert 2 weeks ago. The new classification says that the affected product may temporarily cause adverse health consequences, but is unlikely to cause serious or irreversible medical issues. Florida-based manufacturer Refresco Beverages says that the juice bottles contain levels of arsenic that exceed industry standards. Tommy Lee, MNC News.
Also from the health news file this morning, the Bowen Clinic's launching a $10 million project to expand in Kosciuszko County.
Bowen Health Clinic, a staple in Kosciuszko County for over 50 years, has launched a $10 million project to build a new patient center in Warsaw, right off US 30. WSBT-TV reports starting as a volunteer effort, Bowen Center now employs 1,100 staff and serves 30,000 patients across Indiana. The new facility will offer mental health, dental care, and a pharmacy with a digital sign to highlight its presence and serve as a beacon of hope.
That's Joe Ullery reporting. And the South Bend Fire Department will host a blood drive with the South Bend Medical Foundation this morning. It's taking place from 8 o'clock until 12 noon at the Central Fire Station at 1222 South Michigan Street in South Bend. You can sign up to reserve a donation time at givebloodnow.com or just show up in person. Parking for donors will be in the back parking lot of the fire station. There will be some signs posted when you pull in. You can cast your vote with confidence this fall. Check out the candidates and their platforms from all the hot races before the November election at the all-new HoosierVote.com. Brought to you by Shield Exteriors and Burton's Laundry.
Sunny, hot, and humid today. High temperatures at 96, but the feel-like temperature, the heat index, will be 105 to 110 this afternoon. An excessive heat warning is in effect for the afternoon hours today because of that. Severe thunderstorms possible this evening, and overnight we quiet down. We drop to 73, and then then partly sunny, hot and humid tomorrow with a high of 90. I'm meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
You can get the top local news delivered to your email twice each day. To get signed up, go to 953mnc.com. Just click where it says On Demand. Up next, top trending stories. We'll also check out your 5-day forecast. MNC News Time, 5:13.
Podcasts by Federated Media.